Well, good evening. You're very welcome to the Masters Championship for round number 14 of TMC Division 2 here at Monza in the rain, intermediate conditions for qualifying here. My name is Graham and I'll do my best to bring you the action tonight from the Temple of Speed, or the Temple of... Let's break a little bit earlier because it's a little bit wet, shall we say. But alas, here we are. Jan is going to get started here on a flying lap. If it is Jan, I apologise. Someone can feel free to correct me. But he's going to start his lap, and we're going to go to the standings very quickly after a very interesting Belgian Grand Prix last time out. TMC Yarm is leading the way on 181 points, but found his lead slashed a little bit by TMC Corboy, who is in second place with 18 points adrift and 163 points. Then third back is Sway in the McLaren, 109 points, and then 88 points apiece for Kieran Trapp and Cygate to round out the top 5. Although there's a nice little battle going on behind that, with Stevie G on 84 points, Anamako 76 points, and Thomas on 81 points. So plenty to be contested there as the season enters the flyaways after this race. But in the constructors, it is still very much Racing Point leading comfortably, 265 points ahead of Alfa Romeo 193. But nice little battle again for third, with Mercedes on 159 and McLaren on 145. I guess it's a nice little race for sixth as well. You got Williams 93, Renault 190, and Haas then on 77. So plenty of spots to still be contested. There's obviously plenty of racing still to be done. And well, I'm expecting a few people to end up in the wall here for qualifying because, well, let's be honest, conditions are a little tricky. Obviously, I believe the race is going to be dry, so people are going to be, well, I'm assuming most people will run with a dry setup, which means obviously you have to try and contest these wet conditions with the said setup. But 129.5 on the button is going to get us started here. I know the Racing Points, are close behind. Looks like an invalidated lap by Stevie G, which means there's a Williams, I believe. Which one is this? It's Adamako then. He's been on the pace of late, and he goes second with a 130 flat, and Yarm then 28.7. I believe Yarm was kind of always going to be here on pace anyways. Joe Corby 28.8 for him, so that's exactly what Yarm needs to do with Cygate again. Gets his lap in. 30.3 for the Mercedes, as laps will be flying in there. Where's the Toro Rosso? It will be well, awesome dude, there it is. Try and find the right one. 31.3 for him, so people just trying to feel their way through these conditions, at least to start here, to keep it back for this race. He's up into fourth. His teammate is just beginning his flying lap. And let's go on board with Sway just to kind of see where the limits are, so to speak. We'll break it well before the 100-meter board, making the apex. Want to be careful not to slide too much through that first chicane. Nice and easy on the throttle. He's waiting a very long time to get the power down full, so very tentative from Sway here to start, as he hooks himself around the curve of Grande, coming up to the De La Roche chicane. Wants to take as much of this curve as possible, sliding a little bit through, but keeps it straight. Always a challenge. See what he's like through the Lesmos into fifth gear, and then through the second Lesmo, fifth again, runs a bit wide, and then up towards Ascari. So Jan then second lap for him, he's gone on a 29.2 into third. CVG just behind him. So continue to watch Sway as he navigates Ascari very cleanly, but I think he has decided to back out of it because his ERS deployment is on 0, so maybe a track limits may have got the better of him. And it is the other McLaren to keep a 5 tenths up on this lap. This could be in the 28s. Oh, it's more than that. It's 8 tenths up. He found a good another 3 tenths to that last sector. 28.6 for the German, and he is on to provisional pole position for the time being. Ripper Rick just starting his flying lap. So of course the advantage that you have with a wet session and a dry race is that you can just go hell for leather basically in qualifying. Just use all the tyres you want. Don't have to worry about eating into a race set or anything like that, or strategy. And yeah, basically just go for it basically. Personal preference, I always prefer to fuel with a bit more fuel, so kind of as you feel your way through the conditions, the more comfortable you get to the end of your stint, and then obviously the end of your stint is when you have the least fuel, and then you can kind of go for it from there. But some people, I don't know, for me, I always found building the confidence in the wet was key, and just really feeling it out, seeing how the conditions might change and all that good stuff. As Silas there goes into 11th place, a couple more people getting a few times in. Awesome dude coming across the line. 29.3 for him as well, so a couple more times begin to creep in. Kieran Trapp, I believe. Oh, there's a McLaren off of the track. That is to keep it. But we'll go on board with the Renault of the Irishman. Oh, he's missed it completely, and that will be his lap over. So a little bit too late on the brakes there. I have to account a bit more ground. You can see when we were on board Sway, he was well before the 100 metre line. Oh, and getting all sorts of twisty out of Parabolica as he races towards the line. Then this, I believe, is just, it's a 36, so he's not going to have enough ERS for another run here, really. But he did get himself into the top 10, although he's slipping a little bit as Ripper Rick and 2 Williams are positioned here inside the top 10. And there is a Alfa Romeo of unsafe release, trying to hook it out of Parabolica, trying to keep as much on the throttle. Runs out of ERS, but it's going to be into the 29s. It's 29.8. He moves up into 8th place. So really, this is kind of splitting into a few different areas. So where am I? So obviously top 3, Takipa, Yaram, Joe, and then another tier then between Jan, Stevie G, and Adam Acko, and then kind of the rest. Ripper Rick, unsafe release, Awesome Dude, Sway, they're all kind of in that area. So at the moment, that's how it's kind of breaking down. But we'll see for how long it lasts. I think Kieran Trapp will be starting his second, well, attempting another run. Oh, that's a broken, I thought it was a broken front. Wait for a sec on that. Toro Rosso for a big shotter. As the other Haas of F1 AMG just beginning his flying lap. There's a McLaren coming through. I'm surprised maybe Sway's been able to. He only had less than 50% ERS to start this lap, so but he looks like he's on the lap and he's improving. So let's see what this ends up being then. It's going to be a 29 flash, so he moves into 5th place then, again kind of in that second kind of tier that we're seeing emerge. And Ripper Rick then 29-1 for him, and he moves up into the top 6 as well. So constant shifting and changing. Is the track going to improve much, or is it going to slip away? No, we'll have to see how that unfolds. That's unsafe release. He's coming to the pits. Let's go on board with Joe with that beautiful helmet as he looks to try and take back a spot on the front row. Could do getting himself ahead of Yaram if possible. He's got a car coming out of the pits. Got 150 meter work. He's looking to brake. Struggles to slow it down in time. Missed that first apex. See how much that might cost him as he continues. Ooh, through the curve around a bit of a wobble. Ah, T. Beautiful. So let's see then. Oh, he's less than a tenth down. So he heads to the Della Roche chicane. That's not awful considering that he missed a lot of turn 1. F1 AMG has gone up to 4th place to 28.9, so a 4th man into the 28s as F1 Stu retires from the session. That looks like it's on. There's a car stopped. So he must have retired on track. It's just coming out of. It's just coming out of the curve. It's just out of the Curva Grande, isn't it? Just after the sector. So it's an interesting one. Joe almost 2 tenths down through this second sector. As racing points, that is Stevie G. Is he on a lap very quickly? Oh, he's just starting. So that leaves Joe then next across the line, coming out of Parabolica. A kind of deceiving turn because you think it's fairly simple, but it's definitely a science to it. Oh, Joe on the decides to abort, and he will peel into the pits. There is a Haas of Jan. He's starting his flying lap. Let's go on board Thomas. Yeah, so may as well stick with Jan because the next car back isn't on a lap. Is Adam on a lap though? Is the question. No, so we'll stick with this then. Decent apex through turn 1. Didn't miss it as we've seen other drivers do it. Again, throttling that, no traction. You see a little bit of a wobble as he tried to get on it. His teammate is just coming across the line. No, he's coming into the pits. There's a Renault coming across the line. And nothing for Kieran Trappier, 30.7. Not the lap he would have wanted us to keep it then. 28.5 furthers his lead at the top for provisional pole position. Yaran peels into the pits as I think everyone is trying to get ready for that last stint. Well, majority of the field anyways, but 28.5 is now the benchmark to aim for pole position. Although we can get into the troubles of pole position a little later on. But for now, Jan, nice, tidy Ascari. Ooh, just a little bit trying to fight back on exit. But a nice Ascari nevertheless. See then how he handles Parabolica, fourth gear, down to third for a sec. Is he short shifting that to fifth? No, very much trying to just on the power again. Car trying to fight back all the time. This looks alright to be fair. To 28.9, moves ahead of his teammate by 3/100ths of a second. So not a bad time for him as our new driver in the Red Bull, Miles, starting his lap. And I think Austin 2 starting his just behind, as well as traffic coming out of the pits. That won't be ideal as Adam Acko exits, and yeah, Austin 2 is completely missed the first turn. We'll have to try that again. As to keep us gone for a second. He's 2 tenths up as well, this could be even quicker. The 28.2, has anyone got an answer for that? His teammate Sway is just starting a lap now as well. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to beat the two Mercedes kind of outside the top 10 for the moment. Joe's just about to start his lap as well. So you can pick up anyone that's actually on a lap. Looks like Stevie G's on a lap, so we'll go on board with him. A few cars behind him. Exits Parabolica, ERS beginning to run on empty, and he's going to dive into the pits. He'll get back out with some time to spare. Unsafe release just beginning his lap. There's Mercedes behind. That is Thomas. He's just starting his lap. There's a Haas going very slowly out of the last corner. That is Jan. He should get back out in time though. And I think Miles will be next across the line, I suppose. This is a 31.3, puts him into 17th place. Adam Acko just starting his flying lap. He's on no deployment, so maybe not. Bear lap for Kieran Trapp. 29.1 puts him inside the top 10 for now, and tight on time to try and get back out there. To keep it would be surely be on an in lap. I imagine that would be him. Well, he might get back out, it might be tight, but Sway then starting his lap once again after he couldn't get it right, it seems. And we'll go back on board with him. Not a whole lot else going on the track. I'm conscious there's a Ferrari going around, but yeah, bit better from Sway through turn 1. I'm interested in the Mercedes starting a lap, but Thomas will be coming to the end of his lap, so let's go on board the second Mercedes, who I do believe has pace, but a little bit out of position at the moment in 12th. See what he can do. Can get himself into the top 5. Needs to get into the 28s to do it. It is a 29.1. It gets him to the top 10, same time as Ripper Rick, but sadly not enough for him to get into the top 5. Unsafe release, just starting his final lap. There's another Red Bull. That is Miles. He's going for another lap. He's quicker. 31 flash, but he's still in 17th place for the time being as we begin to really wind down now. Adam starting his lap. He's got a minute 40 seconds left, so if he botches this one, can go out for one more run. Have a few seconds to spare, but I think after this point, everyone else, starting with to keep us going to be tight for time just behind Adam there. He should be safe. So basically from this point onwards, everyone else crossing the line, they'll have one opportunity to get this right. I saw, oh, there's a car off the road for a sec. That was unsafe release. And starting, so is anyone then coming across to finish their lap? Where is Cygate? This will be it for him. As he comes across the line, it's a 30, it's 29.9, but it's invalidated. So that is him done then. Yarm just starting his lap. Stevie G, same story. Try to see if anyone's on a lap to finish. Thomas on a lap as well. That Toro Rosso is also starting a lap. Okay, just have to cycle through till we find the right one. Yeah, just behind that. Kieran Chop just behind that then as well. So I'm guessing Adam will be the first one then to get sorted, so to speak. Here he comes. It's a 28.5 for Adam. And he moves up into third place then. Right, so checker flag is now out. So this is it then. A sway. Oh, big drift. And he's going to abort that lap. Ripper Rick, again, another drift as well. He's just behind his time. Does not improve. 29.2 for Ripper Rick. He's still in 10th place at the moment. Team C Core Boy then. 28.3 he ended up doing. And I think he has run out of fuel. So Joe did well then to move up into the top two. Can anyone respond to that behind him? Jan, third place, 28.5 for him. But here come the racing points, starting off with Stevie G, sixth place for him, just behind his teammate. Can Yaram take pole position here at Monza off the keeper? No, and he moves just ahead of Joe by 0.03 of a second. Thomason gets into the top 10. Not enough. Awesome dude, sixth place, pushing Stevie G down. Is there another Haas? There is. He's quicker this lap still is Jan. Can he move into the top 5? No, it's 7th place Kieran Trapp, 6th place. So he moves up then. Adam went for another lap, but just short, and then the keeper, no improvement there, 28.3. So he would have, the second fast lap even would have got him pole position, and that, I believe, is going to do it. So a flurry to finish, but in the end the keeper taking pole position at a wet Monza. He finishes 10th ahead of Yarm, who just gets in ahead of Joe there. Joe will be annoyed about that. F1 AMG 4th, Adamako 5th, Kieran Chopin 6th, Awesome Dude 7th, Jan 8th, Stevie G 9th, Sway then down in 10th, and then outside the top 10 is Thomas, Ripper Rick, Unsafe Release, F1 Stu, Cygate, Big Shotter, Miles, Silas and Bomber Sanfer round out the grid here at Monza. Alright, what to worry about. Cold tea. Get it all done. So the weather will be dry, which means everyone has the choice of tyres. Obviously, qualifying in the wet means you have free choice of tyres to start in the dry. Now, this is this is how it breaks down. This is one of the tracks you can actually use the softs. So it'd be interesting to see who will be the first runner to use mediums to start the race, because you can definitely get away with softs for sure. This is one of the tracks you can use softs, and it's a usable race tire, which isn't always the case. So it'd be interesting to say someone from maybe 3rd or 4th or 5th jumps on the mediums, try and get themselves advantage, but then how, obviously you have to try and weigh how much are you risking in that first stint, how much can you lose. You have to really play it carefully. We'll find out though. We shall see. Yes, no issues today, thankfully. Right, so top 7 on softs. Jan is the first to use mediums in 8th place. A calculated risk, I think. Stevie G would have gone away with a 2, I reckon. Thomas in 11th is going to use mediums. Now, Ripper Rick is the only one here on hards. Hards are not an especially great tire compared to the mediums and the such, but could go long into this race. Maybe a safety car might come out, you never know what happens. Stu also on mediums, as is Big Shota and Miles. Everyone else is on the soft compound tyres, so that is how it looks. And the thing about Monza is it's a turn 1 here is a corner that invites disaster. So you have either you're well up the front here, like to keep a Yarm, and even, you know, I guess even Joe and F1 AMG. Outside of that, once you get to your kind of 6th, 7th, 8th and the such, you're kind of in a territory where it's quite dangerous. You've got a lot of cars behind and enough cars in front that if something goes wrong, then you are right there for it. So of course you could be at the back. Oh, that was disappointing showing for the Scuderia. 2 cars at the back. It's actually not a bad place to be honest, the very back here, because turn 1 is, yeah, like I said, it is one that invites disaster, because it is very much a late braking turn, and if you get in there quickly, you could hook up an overtaking move or 2, but really, a bit of a look, it's a bit of an unknown. It could go either of 2 ways. I remember watching the division, I think it was a Premier League race at the time it was called, and I think there's Lewis, I think there's Jonathan Terry, and all sorts of carnage unfolded. So I mean, it's one of those. I think John might have gone flipping, but I'm not sure. It was madness anyway. But let's see then. Of course, a long run down as well. So if you're Yarm or Joe, yeah, good start. You could be within some luck. Very much so, because it's a long run down there. And of course, heavy braking. You just never know. But here we go then, 27 laps around the Temple of Speed. It's actually one of the quickest races of the calendar because it's not a lot of laps for a lot of speed. Only a couple of braking zones to really worry about. Turn 1, De La Roche chicane, etc. We'll get there. 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like a decent start for it to keep it. Gets away very, very well. Joe trying to get alongside Yarm as they head down towards turn 1. Kieran Chopper already passed Adam Acko to keep it, leaving lots of space. Joe the inside for turn 2. Oh, bit of contact with himself and Yarm, but they are through. And the VSC is out already because look behind. Ripper Rick has got no front wing. Silas off track as well. Let's just get a quick glance of position changes very quickly. That's how it's looking. Steve G up a few places. There's Jan in 8th place, still Adam Acko obviously down a spot like we mentioned, but can't dwell on that for too long because safety car is going to get, or the race is going to get underway pretty soon. So that's unfortunate for Ripper Rick on his hards. Maybe it might be blessing in disguise, get off those, maybe a safety car comes out. Never know, but I suspect we'll get racing again soon. Joe all over the back of Yarm here. I think we're good to go. Basically full throttle. See if anyone can pick up a good slipstream. Who can make up the most time here? Legally, of course. Here we go then. Green flag once again as they head through Ascari for the first time. See if anyone is taken by surprise. Ascari is one that things do tend to happen. And Joe going down the inside of Yarm into parabolic. Again, important to make your moves here. DRS is powerful here. Let's get a board from F1 AMG, Yarm and Joe. Oh, very close to touching there. Oh, look at this. This is going to be side by side the whole way down. Who's got more straight line speed? Joe's got the inside line. That will matter. But of course, the inside turns to the outside for turn 2. Later in the break-in, Joe's have to force his way through there. And there he goes. He is through. Stevie G looks like he's got by Adam, who is dropping a little bit to start this race. To Mercedes. Oh, it's a bit of a oops, bit of desync there. Looked a little bad for a sec between the two Mercs. Jan, Ripper Rick and Big Shot into the pits. That's disappointing for Jan on those mediums. But still going through. Two Mercedes, I believe, are still desynced. Yep, they'll be rearing each other for most of this race. Sway making up some positions. Gets by F1 stupid. We'll stick with this though, because it's quite tight and Well, to keep us in a great spot here because he's already broken DRS, and once the next lap is here, then obviously that will be to his big gain, but to Joe then it will not be unless he can break this slipstream. Otherwise, Yarm will have the DRS and a good chance to overtake him. To Mercedes quite close. Sway on unsafe release is for 11th place, so try and make up some ground. Having lost a place, and Miles is out and the safety car is out. That will surely be for Parabolica. And well, who is past? Is anyone going to come in and take advantage of that? Thomas is coming in. Sorry, Sykate's coming in. Seems to be the only one unsafe release in. Bomber is in. Yeah, out of Ascari. So there's our first victim. Might not be a. I know the hards aren't the best tire, but it might be an interesting idea to pivot onto them. Could be an interesting stroke here. So safety car is out, lap 3. That will be a great relief to Joe. Of course, the obviously DRS was enabled this lap. Not just Joe, of course, but obviously anyone who had a car behind them within DRS. It's more so a problem if you don't have DRS to the car in front of you. So that would obviously be a problem for. Will be a problem for everyone, but yeah, for Joe, you know, that's a good thing. It obviously means the safety car is out, which means 2 or 3 laps at least between, you know, obviously the safety car obviously coming out and picking it up and obviously coming back in. I believe also there's a few laps in before before DRS is enabled again, so this buys a lot of time, maybe even up to close to the pit stop. So we just have to hang on for a lap or two before the stops really. So who has decided to pivot then? So everyone from Sygate downwards has made a stop. So that is himself, unsafe release, Bomber, Big Shotter going on mediums. He'll have to pit again. Riperick will have to pit again. Jan will have to pit again. But the guys on the hards, they should be able to go to the end. It's not a particularly great race tire, but it should go fairly long. We'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, that could be an interesting play from Sygate for sure. Of course, not everyone had the chance to do it. Obviously, Thomas now got to pit this lap as his teammate was in the last lap. Not everyone had the chance to do it, and that's fine. Doesn't lose anything because everyone's still adhering to a delta because the leaders only pick up the safety car right now. So you can see that on the track map, everyone's still quite spread out. So and also Thomas then pivots onto hard. So he come out for this teammate. This could be interesting. I think he will and all. No, he won't. It'll be close, but it actually wasn't that close, was it? Unsafe release will split them. So the big loser in all this is probably to keep it, to be honest, because he was in absolute dreamland. Over a second clear, DRS has been enabled, and he was basically good to run away with this. But safety car just kind of brings things, just neutralizes things a little bit now in terms of this race. Oh, a big shot of 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flags. Unfortunate for him, he's all on his own here. Strange. Why would he get? I don't know. Anyways, of course, any early use of ERS there, so this would be worked out well for like just someone like Joe, who obviously would have used a good bit of ERS in his drag race essentially with Yarm. So that would have worked out well. So everyone then on a track where obviously look ERS, you want to maximize as much as you can. Obviously, sometimes you pick and choose your moments. So a good opportunity for everyone. There should be no excuse. Everyone will be obviously on full ERS. So it just comes down to the tires, really. Interesting. Yarm's DRS, he says, is broken. Not that it only would have mattered heading down. The safety car came out, I believe. Oh, it would have. Right, he would have been affected once, right? Lap 3. So what, down to Ascari then, he would have been affected by that. Did the safety car, hold on. I'm going to check the safety car actually came out before then. When did the safety car actually come out? Because he may have had one opportunity to use it before this was because I know it was close. No, safety car is already out by the time they got down to that second DRS straight, so that wouldn't have mattered. So it doesn't matter for now that Yarm's DRS is broken because it wouldn't have been enabled anyways, and it can't obviously be enabled now, and it can't be enabled for the first few laps after the safety car comes in. So hopefully, for his sake, that DRS can fix itself, but there are a few tracks where it is the worst to lose DRS. Hockenheim, I think, any track with 3 DRS zones obviously is awful to lose DRS. Hockenheim is particularly bad, for sure. Even though the main straight DRS, like, they're not even overtaking spots, they're just time you're losing though. But obviously you lose a heap of time. Oh, big collision, big Schotter and Bomber Sanford. Is that any wings damaged? I think it is actually, yeah. His left hand end plate is missing. Safety cars in this lap, unfortunately, for big Schotter. This is up there as well for the worst tracks you could lose DRS for, because no other track has got straight line speed like this. Anyways, Red to Coke racing again, so Takipa is the de facto car. He is the pace setter. No one goes until his go, and no overtaking until the start finish straight. Oh, another collision. Yeah, I imagine some of these will get removed. It's anything. Yeah, it is carnage on the safety car with penalties. It's pretty rough. So, anyways, let's see then. So, good chance for Joe and Yaram and anyone really to make up some positions. But oh, look at that, to keep it holding the right back. I think this might not have gone too well. Let's see then. Green flag once again. Thomas and Safely seems to have swapped places. So I think if anything, Joe is under pressure from Yaram to start. Of course, they're both punching a hole in the air. To keep it goes defensive. Yaram, he could have, he's hit the back at the keeper. He's damaged some of his front wing. Looks like a little bit of lag in there possibly as well, but that is disastrous for Yaram. Absolute dreamland for Joe. I thought Yaram is going to back out there, but side by side himself, his teammate and F1 AMG pulling ahead for the time being. And smart. There's a car off the back. Let's rip a Rick. He's into the gravel. Just saw in the back of the shot there, he was into the gravel, as penalties are a flying. So now then, with that broken wing, how much does that affect the arm, and how can Joe pull away? His teammates close behind as well, so has to be careful of that as well. But I thought he could have slipped down in the inside, and I thought initially he was going to back out of it, but I'm not sure, maybe there was a lag or something. But contact was definitely made. And yeah, that has a missing front wing end plate for Yaram, as Joe then hunting the back of that McLaren. Bit of a tighter exit out of Sky, but Yaram still right there. Could still go for an overtake. So look, to be fair, this is a track where it would be the worst to lose your front wing, that you'll feel it a lot of other tracks. And Joe, as he head into the braking zone to keep it, and he's made that around the outside of turn 1, but his exit is not great. F1 AMG, F1 AMG is off, and Yaram's there as well. I've no idea what has caused that. There's debris absolutely everywhere. To keep it coming back at Joe though, so let's go back to that. And to keep it to the Delaroche chicane, he gets that move done back on Joe. You could tell that his exit was much better than Joe's. Two Mercedes, I believe, are decent as well. So, F1 Stu taking a trip across the chicane. Into Sway. That's a little unfriendly, shall we say. And Sway has to get through. I believe he'd be missing part of his front wing then in that case. So, wow, I have no idea what happened between Yaram and F1 AMG. Jan trying to get past F1 Stu. And he's got unsafe release coming down the inside of Ascari, but can't quite make that move. It's absolute carnage. As F1 Stu, I believe, is the car here with damage, and just cars queuing up really to try and get by CVG on the inside of Parabolica on Cygate. Now DRS is enabled this lap. And is Joe any closer? Not quite, but he's saving some of his ERS and doing a better job of saving that ERS. Penalties absolutely flying here, there, everywhere. I wouldn't even want to know who has what at this stage, but Cygate, CVG, and Sway trying to get into the mix as well on the outside there. You can see onto the gravels. He was pushed a bit there, wasn't he? Yarm's got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting as well, so he stayed out then. I think he's just going to try and see this through. As now F1 AMG trying to get the inside into the De La Roche chicane on Cygate. And he'll have to see there's no room there for Cygate to fight that, and F1 AMG is through then. And so here we go then, Joe with the DRS then. First time we're seeing DRS enabled on lap 8. So there you go. And that's all he really needs, really. But I tell you, Adam Acko putting the pressure on Kieran Trapp in third place for a podium. For the time being, of course, we don't know what the story is with there's a lot of penalties to suss out, so to speak. But the bad news for Kieran Trapp is he's got no DRS in front of him. And Adam Acko will be coming pretty quickly. Let's see at the front, though. If we're going to see a position change, we're going to see a change here for the lead. Is to keep it even going to fight this? He is putting an overtake, so we will try and find it. But yeah, quickly puts it back down, and this will be Joe into the lead now. I expect this to be a very to and fro affair, at least to the pit stop. So let's see then as Adam Acko down the inside. Can he make it on Kieran Trapp? Oh, a bit of contact. Nothing too mad though. Kieran Trapp is missing part of his front wing, so that's why he's struggling a little bit for pace. And he then is overtaken by Adam then. No sign up to keep him making a run back. Will he go for the move? He's not got off ERS, but I think he didn't really want to make that move, but he was close enough, wasn't he? But that is Adam into third, and then that puts Kieran Trapp then down into fourth. I wonder then will he look to try and fix that wing at the stops, but let's see then if to keep it. See this, if you want to make an overtake here, you have to be really sure you're going to hold on to it, because there's not a lot of time to break a second or 7/10 free between here and the start finish straight DRS line. But let's see then. Yeah, he doesn't want to overtake him, because that would give Joe the DRS heading down to the main straight. So very much games being played, and you can understand why as well. So let's see then, to keep it then into slipstream. This again won't be close, as Jan and Cygate going side by side. It seems we're going to stick with this though to keep it then. And yeah, Joe will just give the position up, and we'll have another go soon enough. So Thomas is up into 6th here. Oh, he's gone crashing into the side of Austin, dude. Now has he? Yes, there's a front end plate missing that. Not sure if that was caused right then, but that was a shame. I jinxed it, didn't I? He was looking well there in 6th place on those hards, but looks like he's going to have to he's got to try and change that wing, but he might have to go to the end now, you see, as well. So I'm not sure what he does in this situation. This is probably the worst thing you could do, as STVG gets by him then out of the De La Roche chicane. Now then, see, all this is just a big. I wonder if Joe, separation is creative separation is huge. So obviously this is going to be a yo-yo effect. It's going to be back and forth until either someone breaks 1 second, or makes an early stop, and maybe take a bit more pain of tires at the end, and then go from there. But really the only way I see separation being created here is if someone comes into the pits. So who's going to blink first, really, in that sense? And it's Joe. Joe is going to blink first. Gets the car slowed down in time as well then, and Adam coming in as well. They're all coming in, so that's the danger when you're out front, as Austin speaks into the pit lane. The danger when you're out front is, of course, that you can be undercutted. So I'm not sure what to keep. A lot of people coming in this lap. So let's see then, where does Joe re-emerge? Looks like it'll be 9th place then, with everyone else behind him basically into the pits. Oh, there's a Silas. Would he get through? It'd be important for Joe to get out ahead of him if possible. And it doesn't look like it, so that's not good news for Joe. But the only thing he's got for him is that everyone else behind is in the same boat as well. And if he can get through. Yes, there he goes. And the arm sets a fastest lap of the race on his mediums, but he is in 18th place. And Joe then is got by Silas nice and quickly as well. That's a big one for him. And you can see a bit of separation. Look at the gap between. Did Adam have wing down? No, I don't think he did he? No, he didn't, because Kieran Trapp is right here as well. Did he replace his wing as well? Maybe Adam replaced his wing. Let's just see. Yeah, I guess so. So that creates a lot of separation in between. Well, basically it's Joe or the keeper then, basically, for the lead of this race basically. Let's see if Thomas can do anything, but Tekepa is in. Excuse me. And well, let's see then. Thomas will blast through. Damage wing, of course, but see what he can do. So Tekepa then to the pits, onto a set of mediums. Where is Joe coming out of the Parabolica? Let's see then. Tekepa creeps out of the pits. Joe already up to speed. There is Tekepa, and that hasn't worked for Joe, sadly, for him. And if anything, well, we'll see if Tekepa can get his temps up quickly. If Joe needs to keep within DRS range, though, that's the most important thing. First opportunity, of course, to use DRS will be out of the second Lesmo, and it's important for his race that he does, because not only is to keep it on fresher tyres, but if he's out of that range, then that might be curtains for that race. Again, penalties deciding, etc, etc. Speaking of, we have a change for the lead here. It's F1 AMG on 11 lap old softs, who's by Thomas. Now I know Thomas has got wing damage now, but those hards are not fantastic, and yeah, it'll be a lot of pain in this stint if Thomas decides to try and go until the end of this race on that set. But to be fair, F1 AMG should be coming in fairly soon. Pop out outside the top 10 if he does, and he does peel in. And Ripper Rick unsafe release. These guys similar life tyres, but of course Ripper Rick will have to make another stop on those mediums, and so maybe unsafe release doing well not to fight that. So a lot of separation then has been created, and a ton of people within there. The DRS got a lot of differing strategies. As Joe sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's caught a long way up to keep it then down the inside into turn 1. Didn't think he'd catch up that quickly. Down the inside, gets that move done, and takes 7th place off of Tekepa, and up to him then to try and stretch out as much as he can. He could, the one thing that he could use this time he didn't have last time, is that there are other cars in front of him, and that could be a blessing in disguise. That could be cars to help put separation between himself and Tekepa, or cars that could trip him up as well. So there are of course cars that give him DRS as well, so that's worth noting. That'll help protect him. But he probably caught him at the wrong part of the track. He might not get by here. We'll see if he can. Ideally he wants to stay behind Bomber Sanford down the main straight, but I feel like he's going to try and if he can get through here, though, it'd be interesting. No, backs out of it. If he could have I wonder if he could have gone for it. If he had gone for it, that would have really helped, but it would have compromised Bomber as well. And to the left hand side, the Ferrari ducks. Oh, he's got no wheel. Oh, I see. Oh. Okay then. Right. Well, I didn't think that was legal by FIA standards, but there you go. He seems to be doing. For someone who's only got 3 wheels in the car, Bomber is having a fantastic race. This is absolutely. Look at the amount of grip he's getting as well. Wow. That is something. Anyways, Ripper Rick outside of Curva Grande on Cygate course. Ripper Rick will have to make another stop. It's like, oh, I have to cut the corner. We'll get a penalty for that. Has to keep it not quite there, and this is, well, his unsafe release there as well in front of him. Maybe he'll play the team game. Adamako just behind Austin Dude as well. That is for a position. Austin Dude would have jumped ahead after the pit stops. Sorry, Adamako would have fallen behind the pit stops with the change of front wing. And now I have to be careful to not see there's any illegal blocking, so to speak. And Silas is out. That's a virtual safety car. Ah. So that's from the Ferraris down and out. Now, this is the perfect time to come into the pits here, really, if you're any one of these guys at the front. And Jan's going to do it. I thought Thomas might have done it, to be fair. And but they're going to carry on to the end of the race, it seems. Ripper Rick, oh wow, I'm amazed he didn't do it. That's a missed opportunity for sure. Excellent timing for Jan, for sure. That'll do him very nicely indeed. And we're underway again. So, Cygate onto the gravel on the exit of turn 1. Come guys, I'm coming into the pits. Yellow flag at sector 1. Oh, Sway's out of this race. Oh, he's crashed in the pit lane. I'm guessing someone may have hit him. As a battle for. Oh, that's some aggressive driving, shall we say, between Yarm and F1 Stu. That won't be helpful. As a big shot is getting all the penalties you could possibly imagine. As Adamako got ahead of Awesome Dude and trying to get ahead of F1 AMG. Meanwhile, the other race leader, so to speak, trying to chase the cars in front of them. Yeah, that's not good. I thought that was going to happen. There was some very aggressive wheel race in there, and I knew I saw that 5 second penalty for corner pickup, and I had a feeling that that was what was going to happen. And well, yeah, that's not good. Drives a penalty for Big Shutter for speeding with the virtual safety car. This has not been a good showing, I'm afraid. I apologise if you're watching. Yeah, that's not great. Viperick in for a set of softs. Good opportunity for him to do so, to make up after he should have come in the lap before. Awesome Dude into the pits. Kieran Trapp is in as well. I'm guessing they're going to change a front wing there. Yes, they are. 5 second penalty being served there for Awesome Dude. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say really. But we are green flag racing once again. I'm going to try my best anyways. Joe, look, try and get a move on Psyche as quickly as he can. And to keep, might not be able to follow him down into Ascari. Maybe heading down into Parabolica. There's a good chance for him to do that. And we're down to 14 runners then. A big shot up on the hards. That was the only tyre he had left. Important for Dekeeper to get through here as quickly as possible, because there is a second there between him. Was just about, it's about 9/10 to a second to himself and Joe, who won't have DRS. I think he's just blitzed. I think he's just blitzed turn 1 there, hasn't he? Yeah. To keep us through, sorry for missing that. I thought that was going to be more interesting to watch for a sec. Another VSC. Adamako, wow, this has worked out well for him. Car behind him is his teammate. I'm not sure what. Oh, he's got a drive-through penalty, hasn't he? Oh, his team aren't ready for him. Oh, that's fun. To be fair, that wasn't too bad. I've seen worse holds. Gosh, does it get much worse? I'm not sure, man. I am. I'm not sure. Again, I can only apologise for this showing, because it's not great, is it? But we are underway again. Did I just see a front wing fly off, or is that just a piece of something else? There's a piece of that racing point missing, isn't there? Yeah, left end plate. He's into the back of it, hasn't he? So that's unfortunate for Stevie G. I mean, I guess the one thing you could say is they're still, through no fault of Joe and Dekeeper, I think this is going to be a great race between those two. Again, they're catching up to Thomas in front, who's going to try and limp this out on hards and with a damaged front wing. So, but I mean, a race for the lead could be exciting at least. So maybe let's hang on to that, at least for the time being. Stevie G is in, having obviously we saw him collide the back of that Haas. Oh, I don't know what that was about for a sec. That looked like a very sharp braking point there from Joe. Not sure what happened there. But he's still holding on, at least for the time being, but I'm not sure. It must have been a mistake. Maybe he got loose or something onto... no idea, but he's certainly within danger now of Dekeeper overtaking him. They both have to the more time they swap it with each other, that's better news for Thomas. But I'm not sure. 6.6 seconds. There's a ton of penalties to be factored in as well, so that's worth holding on to. So the winner might not necessarily be the winner, so to speak, because there's been a lot of penalties between, under VSC and safety car and all that kind of stuff. But this is the closest battle we've got on track, really. Between Joe and the keeper, that is a racing point. Oh, it's actually Austin Duty's actually round. Racing point have gone by. Joe defensive, the keeper on the outside. And Joe slots in behind that McLaren. I expect this will be a lot of what this remaining race is just those two to and froing as they try and close down the gap to Thomas in the lead. Remember, Rick sets the fastest lap of the race, and that is good for an extra point for the time being. He is in 7th place. So Adam Mako has got a good chance to get that off of him. He's got a bit of clear air in front. Yeah, there you go. Fresher tyres and a bit of clear air in front of me. He does a 21.9. And at the moment, that is his extra point. So we are on lap 19 of 27. No, hard to say what this race is really, but look, we got a good fight between Takipa and Joe Ladd. We've gone on all race, so you can appreciate that at least. Just a little bit further back is Joe this time. I wonder if he'd be able to take back this position if that's what he chooses to do on this lap. Let's just see the stops. Yeah, look at that. Jan is in 6th place and he's had 3 stops. That shows you what this race has been like. Top 5 all have made just the 1 stop. Everyone else after that is at least 2. See if Joe will go for it. She's put the back down into 0. Good bit of time gained on that lap to Thomas. 5.4 seconds now is the gap. And that is closing. So again, with these two using DRS on each other basically to keep it pulling Joe along. And obviously with the tyres, and obviously we talked about Thomas's wing already. You can see there the end plate on the left hand side is missing. It obviously means that they'll be close. Oh, to keep onto the gravel lane a little bit. I'll allow Joe to close up just a little bit. Bit dirtier through the first Lesmo. The exit of which I think was the exit of the first Lesmo, where Lewis Hamilton had an accident. I think it was like on the last lap. I don't know if that was 2011 or that was 2009. I don't think it was 2010. But yeah, CVG then taking the fastest lap out of this race. That puts CVG, who just got fastest lap of the race, into 12th then. No extra point then for that. For the time being, we're just down to 12 runners then for this Italian Grand Prix. As we spent a lot of it behind some sort of safety car, whether it be virtual or real. And we enter lap 21. This will be an easy overtake for Joe, and he'll tuck in front, and Takipa will slot in. Still 5 seconds the gap between these guys and the leader Thomas, who does not at least shouldn't have to stop again. And so it goes on. At least Parmesan for now is within a second of unsafe release. If you want to look for another place to oh, okay, I'm just reading that Sway's accident out of the pit lane was because his TV turned off. As someone whose TV ends up like the pop-up for it turning off, I can tell you that it is the most annoying thing in the world to have to do that in a league race, and sadly for Sway, caught him out there. I thought he may have got clipped by someone trying to go for an overtake or something, because it's a straight, like you don't just have an accident as F1 AMG gets past Sidegate there, 18 lap old hard. He's kind of feeling it at this stage. You don't just crash out of a straight line pit exit on your own, so there obviously has to be some sort of external factor to it, and there you go. I was heading on to lap 22, 4 seconds now. The gap between Thomas, Joe and Takipa, and that gap is coming down each lap. Again, at some point push is going to come to shove here. These two will have to legitimately duke it out, and he's lost a lot of time in this first sector, hasn't he? has Thomas, and eventually these guys will have to go for it. Oh, a bit of extra movement was there, just or the overspeed, and the fact Joe was in the centre of the track. But Skippy had to back off there for a sec to prevent him slamming into the back of that Alfa Romeo. That would be something, wasn't it? After all this, Jan on the back of Sagan. That's going to be an overtake happening soon. Really, it's about who is in front on lap 25 or 6 between these two, because that's what it's going to come down to, because this isn't the best place to do an overtake on the last lap. Unless you're running as close to this as... Oh, he's made a mistake out in the side gate. He's just let him through, hasn't he? Well before the corner. To be fair, Tekipa could actually wait until the last lap if he wanted to make this overtake. If he was that close to Joe, because obviously he wasn't using any deployment there. Say got a gap this lap. Was a 24.8, 24.3. See, the good news for Thomas is the longer this goes on for, that lead is still somewhat safe, as Tekipa down the inside on Joe this time gets that move done. Obviously these two coming back and forth, their tyres getting a little bit older. Again, not sure what penalties have to be applied or removed, but it could be interesting to say the least when this is all said and done. %, Joe's used quite a bit of his ERS, to be fair. If there was a time for Tekipa maybe to start using some of his ERS, if he wanted to stretch away, now would be a good time. Because he's no way of knowing, unless he's got someone feeding him the information, that Joe is running under 20% ERS. As he picks up a 3-second penalty, and that probably, unless Tekipa gets a penalty himself. He actually has one earlier. He got one earlier on in the race, didn't he? I believe he actually did. That might make them even. I'm going to leave it as a surprise for the end of the race, because this race has not been great for an advertisement, so to speak. So I might as well leave something to a surprise. So they are now 1.8 seconds and closing on Thomas. So it makes sense that within this next lap they will be within the DRS of the race leader. So they're going to come across him, they're going to have to overtake him, and so which one does a better job? Do they both just sail through? Adamako on the back of Bomber Sanford there, that is for 9th place, and Unsafe Release is just ahead of him, so Adam could sneak up to 8th place here if things go well, but Joe dropping a little bit further back this lap and is 1 second behind now. Again, they're both on the limits of ERS, so it seems like full push has finally come to shove. And crucially, Tekipa Adamaka gets by Bomber Sam for CVG's out of this race. In the pit lane, he retires to be down to 11 runners. He is within DRS, Joe is not, and I think that unless Tekipa trips up over, Thomas, I think that'll be it. Three-second penalty for F1 AMG, who is currently in 4th place. Not a bad race from him. Let's see then. This should be fairly straightforward overtaking the ends. Get on to lap 25. Ooh, a bit of movement, pretty fair, but eventually ends up to keep it with the inside line. And away he goes. They've got the retired car in front of Stevie G. That should pull over. Yeah, there you go. Ghost car as well. Well, Thomas is going to fight this back here, so I thought this may have been over. Ooh, a bit of contact. That could have taken both of them out easily. Outside line for Del Roche chicane. That's not going to end well, is it? There's nowhere to turn. Oh, he's gone into the back of him. Tekipa goes on, but Thomas goes round. And that was... good thing for ghosting. That was, yeah, there was no space for Thomas on that outside line. Just wasn't going to happen. And Tekipa count himself lucky that he didn't end up worse in that incident than simply just drive on. So lucky for him. But has brought Joe back within DRS then, so maybe this race isn't quite over yet. And Joe a bit more ERS as well, as Jan gets by Thomas. That's for P4. Again, these guys are just dying on those hards. But that should be it in terms of all they can lose. In the end, I think it worked out for them. I think it worked out for them in the end, that gamble going to hards. 5th and 6th from, where did they start? 11th and 15th. I would say that worked out fairly well in the end, but Joe then, will he go down the inside? No, thinks better of it, just tucks in. Again, quite on the limits of ERS. This is the second to last lap now, so as a Bomber, we'll look at this for a sec, may as well. See if anything interesting happens. Just keep an eye a little bit further back this time, so here's a watch this. An overtake for 9th place potentially. A few points up for grabs. DRS open for Bomber. No, not often he gets to fight for some points, but he's going on the outside this time. And he'll get that move done. He's into 9th place then. So having started at the back, maybe a chance at some points for the Scuderia. As into Ascari for the second to last time. To keeper goes. He's been pretty much... He's had a great race, to be fair, hasn't he? It's not been a lot he's done wrong. Definitely got screwed over by the early safety car when he was streaking away out of DRS range. And... yeah, he's been pretty good, but he's got one more lap to defend from TMC Core Boy. Then we'll see what the penalty situation is. I don't think any of these guys got any 5-second penalties, but here we go. Overtake then. Joe, to keep it, doesn't fight it. He's gone to the inside, has the Alfa Romeo, and he's going to go down the inside. He's going to get this move done. Now, how does Tekeepa play this then? He's not got all ERS left. He's got less ERS than Joe. That could be big. He's not got anything really to fight with. He's going to have to try and harvest as much as he can through this middle sector. He might have enough straight line speed to do it though, through either, I'm not sure, into Ascari, but into Parabolica would be the place to do it. So we go to the last lap, all or nothing. Again, penalties providing. Let's see then. Out of the second let's move for the last time. DRS is enabled, but Joe has got enough ERS to fight. See how close Tekeepa can keep it heading. I know Unsafe Reason Bomber having a battle, but we're going to look at this instead. It's last lap. Nothing into Ascari. One more straight to try and take this back. It's not the cleanest run through Ascari. Joe might be safe. I think Tekeepa just ran out of juice just before the line. Let's see though. Let's see between penalties and such. If he's pulled this off, what a win for Team T Corba. But he's going to cross the line first at least. Is this the race when he comes across? He takes the checkered flag. No, it's just not enough. Tekeepa wins the Italian Grand Prix, and that's why he would have been fine to let that car go. F1 AMG comes home in 3rd place. Jan across the line in 4th, having done 3 stops. Fair play to him. Thomas across the line in 5th place. 3 stops for Jan, ends up in the 4th place. That doesn't happen too often. Saiken across the line, finish in 6th place. Ripper Rick in 7th. Adamako, fortunate race for him, how it all fell out in the end. Could have been up there himself. He is going to cross the line, finish 8th place. And for the last few points, look at this, for someone lucky man's going to finish in 11th place. And it is unsafe release by the looks of it, because Kieran Trapp is into 10th. And there you go. That is your Italian Grand Prix. Not short on controversy, to say the least. But Tekeepa then kept his cool and won this one on penalty, so great job by him. Joe, I'm sure, given the circumstances, would be happy to finish 2nd. Obviously, haven't seen what happened to Yaram earlier, which is unfortunate for Yaram, because obviously no one deserves to have the race ended like that. Even if the race for Yaram had kind of gone skew ways before that, it's not the right way at all. Anyways, one more time. I thought Tekeepa got a penalty, that's my mistake. One penalty was what settled it in the end. Tekeepa ahead of Joe then in 2nd. F1 AMG did a good job there in 3rd place. No penalty for him. Oh, sorry, it was Jan that didn't get a penalty, but good job from F1 AMG. Make the podium. Jan then in 4th, no penalties, good for him. Thomas in 5th, Psyche 6th. good gamble in the end by Mercedes. That worked out. The two Mercedes boys, that worked out quite well in the end. Riberick 7th, Adamako 8th, Bomber from 19th in 9th, Kieran Trapp in 10th, then Unsafe Release 11th, CVG 12th, Awesome Dude 13th, Big Shotta, sorry, then obviously retirements, Awesome Dude, Big Shotta, F1 Stu, Yarm, Sway, Silas, and Miles. If I had to give someone driver of the day, I mean, Jan deserves a pretty good shout. From 8th place, no penalties, 3 stops, was nowhere in this race at one point. I might give it to him actually. As good as the keeper was, his pace, converting pole into a race win. I think I'm going to give Jan driver of the day because, yeah, did a good job. But that is going to do it for round number 14, I believe, of the Masters Championship from Italy. Next up is, well, same track, but for Division 1 instead. Hopefully we get a better showing than we got tonight. Anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time.